Hey there, it is Marian. I don't know if you can hear me well because I have my little microphone over on the desk, but it is 11 o'clock. I wanted to pop in here and give you a lesson today on what your body's going through after cancer surgery from the standpoint of healing and how you can manage the healing process. And I think truly if you know more about how you're healing, it's going to help you with your rehabilitation, because yesterday we talked about the difference between exercise and rehab. And after surgery, rehab is the key. Unless you come out of surgery with flying colors, with no pain, no tightness, no stiffness, everything is fantastic, then that's fine. Carry on, go golf, go play tennis. But every patient that I've worked with and met and chatted with, there are issues, and that means rehabilitation, getting you back to feeling great and being active. So let's talk a little bit about what happens with the healing process. So if you go in for surgery and you have, and I'm talking about any type, we are talking about the biopsies, we are talking about mastectomies, because the issue is, if you look at that little picture that I gave you, it is trauma to the muscle. So when you've got that pain through the chest, it is because that pec muscle, in that picture that I'm showing you, that pec muscle is damaged. It gets cut. There is inflammation that happens after surgery, after trauma. Things get swollen, and the body's natural response is to heal. And that's fantastic. The body wants to heal. But when it heals, what is happening? Everything tightens up, because when something happens like a cut, things are separated, the muscles, the skin, the soft tissue, things are separated, and the body wants to pull it together. So it pulls together, but just like my hand is showing you, it forms scar tissue. And that long term is what causes the 1 year, 2 year, 5 years out of continued tightness and stiffness, and that feeling that you might have where the arm's just not moving quite right, or you're reaching up and you're like, it's not quite there. That's a residual scar tissue. So what we want to do right away, and how you want to help this, is by working the joint that muscle moves into. So if we think about it, and this is what I love to do, I'm science-based, I break things down. We start with the muscle. The muscle is damaged. Where's the muscle go? Well, that pec muscle, it goes right into the shoulder. And what do we do with joints? Joints are what are all about movement. So when you want to move, that's what you want to do, is to stretch out the scar tissue that's forming. Now we want to do it properly. We don't want to rip apart that scar tissue. That scar tissue is our friend. It's helping to repair. But you want to teach the scar to form in nice even lines instead of being bunchy. So that's what you're stretching, and that's what the joint is all about. The joint is what brings about movement. The next point in that little chart, we want to move because that movement is about the joint, and the joint is about stretching the shoulder. So when we look at those fibers of that muscle, and you look at the pec, you can see that those fibers run a certain way. That's what is so important when you deal with movement. So when you put together a strategy to get back to activities, to get the movement back, remember, the apex of what you're working on, that center of what you're working on, is the shoulder, because that's where the muscles that are damaged insert into. And if anyone who knows me knows what I preach about, it is the 6 foundational moves. And now you know why. Because there are 6 movements with the shoulder. So I don't want you to only work on flexion. That's only one of 6 movements. If you want to get mobility back, if you want to stretch out that muscle properly, if you want to get back to all the activities that you love, because activities are compound movements. They're not just single joint movements. But if you're lacking in any of those 6, that's where you're going to see that you go to do something, whether it's taking out the garbage or pushing the grocery cart or closing the trunk of the car, you're going to feel something twinge and something, sort of, I don't like that. But you don't know what it is because you didn't start with a strategy. So I want you to start with the 6 foundational moves, and I'll chat about those tomorrow. But what I want to show you is you've got a muscle that's damaged. it works into a joint. The joint works on movement, you see? And then that movement is what we learn and what we grow to with our strength. Now, I want to caution you on the strength, and you guys have seen my Monday moves where I talk about, the shrugs or repetitive movements or mobility is first before strength. The reason why? When we strengthen a muscle, we contract it. So if you think about the biceps here, that biceps contracts, it gets tighter and it shortens. So when you're strengthening, you are shortening the muscle and you are tightening the muscle. We want to do the opposite. When that muscle's tight, we want to teach it to stretch. So if it's my bicep, I want that to come long and have full movement. I want that elbow to be straight before I start working on that strengthening. The other part is that strengthening actually causes little tears in the muscle fiber. That's how it strengthens. You take little tears, and that's why it's controlled when you strengthen. Generally speaking, we talk about 3 sets of 10, but you want to not cause those tears. You've already got enough, so you don't need to strengthen. You need to stretch. So muscle, joint, mobility or movement, then you can get to that strengthening. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, send me a DM or send me an email, but I want you to get those 6 movements into your movement strategy post breast cancer surgery. And tomorrow, I'll be talking about those 6 movements so we can go through those. Have an awesome day.